Entitled Homeland Security, Bringing Document Up to Date. I want to see you all there. It has been our pleasure over the past 2 weeks to host Woody King Jr.'s New Federal Theater's retrospective and Ntosake Shande's work. This, the last element of the festival, is a distinguished panel of poets. They're here to discuss her work. The panel will be moderated by the founder, president, and producing director of the New Federal Theater, a good partner and a good friend to Castillo. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn the afternoon over to Woody King Jr.
First of all, Baraka and Sonia, as always, you know, may have problems finding a place, but they would be here. We talked to them as early as yesterday, as late as yesterday. But Quincy is here. Quincy Troop is a long friend of the New Federal Theater and of me. We met in Los Angeles in the 60s, and I think they thought I was a policeman. And I went to this house where they were doing all kinds of stuff, poetry and writing and just reading. It was unbelievably exciting. And I was on this sojourn for a foundation, and it was for the late 60s, you know, for a brother to be giving away money. It was a very suspicious kind of thing. You know? So that was how I met Quincy Ojinki and just so many other poets. You know, the brother who wrote Corner Boy. They were all at this one place, and Fred Hudson and the Frederick Douglass Creative Art Center was being formed. So Quincy, come on up. Why don't you sit right there?
All right. Water right there.
Yeah, water right there. We put Sonia and Baraka in a different place. So that we would not hold up any of the discussion. What we've been able to do in these 4 weeks on this retrospective on Ntosake is read something like 15 or 20 of our plays. We hired maybe 75 or 80 actors and 10 directors and maybe 5 or 6 stage managers with Miss Bio, who is back there coordinating everything. And my assistant Pat White. And we just marvel at coming to this last day and say, wow, it really worked, huh? It really worked. They really love Ntosake, man. They really appreciate her contribution, you know? And so today, to culminate it, I thought the best way to culminate it would be to talk about her poetry and how she came into the mid-70s as a full-blown kind of artist who had learned so much from the panelists we have here today. My earlier readings of the work that she had published, of course, was by Quincy Troop, you know, in a magazine called American Rag. And he informed me, well, 2 months ago, I published something else of hers and magazines out of NYU. So, Quincy.
Okay. Let's see. I want to start with that both Ntosake and myself, we were born in St. Louis. Of course, she was older than me. No. No, I was older. I didn't know her in St. Louis, and I didn't know her. But her father knew my father, who was my father was a great baseball player, the second greatest catcher of all time in the old Negro leagues. And so I kind of, it's a couple of things I want to say about that. Is that because I grew up between St. Louis and Mexico, St. Louis and Cuba, and St. Louis and Puerto Rico, and I went to Venezuela once because he played baseball the whole year round. So I heard all this language in the house. My father spoke Spanish fluently, and he loved salsa, and he loved merengue, and he loved the music from Cuba and from Puerto Rico. So I heard that it was all in the house all the time. And then my mother loved Duke Ellington and rhythm and blues and jazz and all of so-called jazz, and that was in the house. And so I was in the choir, so I sang in the choir. I grew up in the Baptist church, and so that kind of music was in the house because my grandmother was the president of the Flower Club, and so she took us to church all day every Sunday for like 13 years, which was really strange. But anyway, I'm telling you all this because I think it applies to her, to Ntosake. My mother used to read poetry to me on Saturdays, and in St. Louis, Missouri. And see, I hated her because then I would have to go out. Everybody thought I was a sissy. They thought poetry was only for women, but it was not for men. These are guys thinking this, so I have to go out and beat them up. They'd be talking about you like a dog, and so I just have to pop them in their mouth. And then they understood that I wasn't a sister. You had to do that kind of stuff, back in those days. You might have to do it now, I don't know. But anyway, I had poetry in my head for a long time. I met Ntosake in Sacramento, and she had been brought there to do a poetry reading there, and I had been brought there to do a poetry reading. We were reading on the same day, but she was Paulette Williams then. She was Paulette Williams, and so Eugene Redmond had brought me there to read, and she was reading over there, and he said, "Oh, Paulette Williams is reading." And I didn't know who Paulette Williams was. I didn't have no idea, and so I said, "I don't know who she is." And so he said, "Oh, she's from St. Louis." I said, "Oh, really?" And it was interesting because we didn't meet. We met after she had read, I had read, and then we met. Eugene facilitated that, Eugene Redmond. But she was Paulette Williams, and I remember her being Paulette Williams, and very interesting woman and beautiful and all of that. So when I moved to New York, somebody came up to me and said, by that time I started reading some poems of hers in all of the different magazines. Ntosake Shange, though. Now you have to get this in here. Paulette Williams, Ntosake Shange. So I read these poems of her, and I was like intrigued by this poet, who I didn't know anything about. I didn't know anything about her. I hadn't met her, and so I didn't think so. And so I was reading these poems by Ntosake Shange, and people were telling me in New York, "Have you met Ntosake?" I said, "No, I haven't met Ntosake. I haven't met her." And so somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, Ntosake told me to tell you hello." And I said, "I don't know Ntosake. I just know her work." She said, "Well, yeah." She said she met you in California. I don't remember. And so our first, where we hit it off at first was like she came up to me at a party for Alvin Ailey, and she started to put a finger in my face. I'm like, "You telling these people you don't know me? I met you in California and so and so and so and so. I met you in Sacramento at this poetry. We hung out about." I said, "Yeah, but you were Paulette Williams then. You changed your name after this, I didn't know who you were. I didn't put the two together, So that was how we met, and then I discovered that we had after talking, we liked the same things. The music. She loved Latin American poets like I did. I loved Latin American poets. She loved Nicholas Guillen. She loved Pablo Neruda. She loved Mary Baraka. She loved a lot of the same poets that I did, and it was just very interesting. She was interested in the same things that I was interested in.